guys, this is Mrs. Hall, and today I'm going to talk about how to start changing some of your letters into graffiti letters and what some of those requirements are. So I have the requirements for the graffiti portfolio project, the sheet, and I've already done number 1, which is draw your first name, last name, middle name, nickname, or initials. It has to include at least 3 letters. I've turned my letters already into block letters, and I'm going to start changing them. So number 2 says, draw 1 serif, a cap on a letter. So if I look at this sheet here, this is the graffiti requirements how-to sheet. It gives me the definition of a serif. A serif is the cap to a graffiti letter, and it shows me how to slowly change my letter to get a serif. So it's these caps on the end. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that on the document camera right now. All right, so first of all, when you're picking a letter for the serif, you want to make sure that it's a letter that has an end like this. Having a curve like the R here, that doesn't work well. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to pick the top of the K. So technically, I only have to have 1 serif, but I think it would look funny if I didn't put a serif at least on the both of these on the top of the K. So I take and I just fan out a line, and I'm going to fan out a line here, and then I'm going to connect it at the top, and I erase the top of this letter here. Okay, so once I am done with that, I have my serif. Now, just for looks, I feel like this looks silly if I don't do the other top, like I said, and I can exaggerate it as much as I want. So if I want to make a really big cap and I want to exaggerate it, it's fine. There's no size. There's no specific size that you have to have. And then I just erase the top of the letter here. So that's the serif requirement. I could add more over here to make it balance out. It's kind of up to you. All right, so now let's go to the next requirement. The next requirement is draw 1 arrow. So in terms of, let me see if I even put how to draw an arrow on there. Yeah, I did. How do I create an arrow? So you can see step by step, I just added a line on each side to the end of the letter, and then I created a triangle on the end of that. Now, there are a ton of different kinds of arrows that you could add into a graffiti drawing. You could extend the letter a little bit and then add an arrow, which you'll find a lot of times. But just for the sake of this demonstration, I'll go ahead and just do a normal arrow. So at the bottom of this R, I'm going to make a line that goes out, a line that goes out, and then I'll make like a V or like an upside down triangle on the end, and I'll erase right there. Now, I could also make this extend if I wanted to do another arrow. You can make any style of arrow that you like. Okay, and then I have an arrow just like that. All right, now let's go to the next requirement. The next requirement is draw 1 overlap when one letter is positioned in front of the other letter. So for here, it says, how do I create an overlap? An overlap is when one letter or object is slightly, I put lightly, is slightly in front of another object or another letter. So if for whatever reason you have a bigger space here, you have to make the letter wider. So let's see what I have. I think my letters are actually pretty close together in my example. They are. And actually this R already overlaps the I, so I wouldn't have to do anything. But let's say it didn't. Let's say I needed to make my letter wider. What I could do is I could say, all right, I am going to put this T in front of the S and the E. So I can make this longer. Remember, there's a lot of erasing with this project. So I highly suggest that you make your letters very, very light from the start. All right, so I erase there. Now I have overlap. Now you can make it overlap in more than one area if you like. It's totally up to you, but you have to have at least one area. All right, next requirement. Draw 1 connection. You can either merge 2 letters together or connect them with a ribbon. So let's go to them. This is kind of the hard one. So it says, how do I create a connection that looks like a ribbon, or how do I create a connection that merges two letters together? So this shows you step by step how to create a ribbon. And then right here, it's not supposed to have a line right there. I messed up a little bit and need to wipe that out. All right, so let's go to the actual project. Let's say I want to merge two letters. So it's easiest to merge letters that are already looking like they're pretty close together. So because I want to keep this as an overlap, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with the E and the N. So I'm actually going to extend the E to make it touch the N. And then anywhere where they like touch, I'm going to erase, and it's going to look like one unit. So it's okay that it doesn't look as much like an E and an N anymore. That happens with graffiti where it just looks more like a shape than an actual letter, and that's totally fine. So this is an example of how you merge or connect two letters together. Now let's say I wanted to create a ribbon, which is our other option. So I want to look for two letters that have two, I almost think of like a tree trunk, two parts that I could actually wrap a ribbon around. So this part wouldn't be very good for it. Actually, the T and the E I could do pretty well. So maybe I'll use that one. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw almost like a smile. And then another smile. Okay, so it's slightly curved. It's not as curved as a smile, but maybe it's like a little smile. I'm going to put a little hook like that, a little hook like this, and feel free to pause this video at any time because this isn't that easy. Okay, then on this side, I'm going to go ahead and extend it a little bit, extend it a little bit, connect these straight down, connect these straight down. In the back, if I can see quite a bit of it, I'm going to add two little lines about the same width as the ribbon. Then I'm going to take my eraser and I'm going to erase the lines that fall inside of that ribbon right here in the front. And I have a connection. So you're welcome to do that as many times as you want. You don't have to just do one. And the thing with the ribbon and the merging the letters, you only have to do one of those. You don't need to do both. You can if you want, but you don't have to. So if I already merge these letters to form a connection, I don't have to do the ribbon. If I already did the ribbon, I don't have to merge the letters. It's really up to you. Okay, so moving back, the last basic requirement is draw one extension. Make one part of a letter longer. So if I go back to my how-to sheet, you can see basically I just draw two lines from the edge of a letter, and that makes the letter longer. Now, I technically already did this when I did this arrow right here. So this arrow and this counts as two. This would be arrow plus extension. So technically I wouldn't have to do anything else. But if I wanted to, let's say this K, I could draw two letters out and I can connect this in some way. It doesn't matter, how I do it. The end doesn't matter. You don't have to put an arrow on the end of extension. Okay. And I don't like how this is too pointy right there. Okay, and that is an extension. So there are additional requirements to this project, but this is just the basic requirements. The next video is going to be about making it more creative and more you. And so we're going to go over how you're going to do that. Thanks.